Antoine is going to be crowned your WR Season 10 champion.
And history's been made. Ballina, the first WOR PS4 champion. What a championship! What a season! Absolutely phenomenal.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome along to World Online Racing League PC Tier 2. This is round number 2. We had the glitz and glamour at Bahrain last week at a night race, and now we go away from Bahrain and we head to Suzuka for the Japanese Grand Prix, a circuit which has produced many title titles in the past, but I'm sure we're going to have some classic action here tonight. My name is Jess Ball, one of your commentators for this evening, and joining me in the commentary box this week and for the rest of the season, we got an Xbox WR commentator years gone by from Tier 3 last season. It is Germo. How are you doing?
Fantastic. A bit gutted to miss the first round, but at least I'm here for the second one. And like you said, I'm hoping to be here for the rest of it. But Japan, Suzuka, what a track to start on. Nobody dislikes this track, but well, I do say that. But when it decides to rain, I'm not sure many people will like it. And you know, as a lot of people have probably seen in Tier 1, it's raining currently there. So don't expect it to be bone dry in this tier either.
Definitely not. Suzuka has hosted the Japanese Grand Prix in all but 2 years since 1987. It was originally a test circuit and was constructed in 1962. It hosted Honda motorcars there as well, and it's most famously known for its figure 8 layout in Sector 1 with the S's and also 130R. Let's hope the drivers don't get caught up in incidents there today, of course. The track is 5.8 kilometers long. 8 to the left and 10 to the right. We have 18 turns, 1 DRS straight, which is just after the start-finish straight. Well, before the start-finish straight, after the Casio Triangle. It joins Monaco as the only 2 tracks to only have 1 DRS straight, which means drivers have got to be on their A game a lot more today. And the first Formula 1 race here was held in 1987, and Lewis Hamilton set the lap record here ages ago. And it's not like Tier 1 where we have full qualifying. It's going to be short qualifying like last week, 18-minute qualifying session. The top 10 will have to start on the tyre they set their fastest lap on, and some of these drivers will want to beat JD as he took the opening race win last time out in Bahrain, and it wasn't easy for him. He had to work for it, but points are handed out at the end of the race, not at the start, and he did an amazing job in the AlphaTauri to bring it home with the maximum 25 points.
Well, he was just one of those drivers who didn't get caught up in anything. The amount of, it's literally, honestly, Jess, it was just your typical first round of a championship where nobody knows where they stand in terms of pace, whether the quickest guy, the slowest guy. So everyone just goes all out trying to overtake everybody and be as high as possible, rather than looking at another driver and thinking, oh, this guy's going to be quicker than me, and sticking behind. Because nobody knows anybody, or when you go into a new league, you probably know 1 or 2 people, but then the other 18, 17 people, you have no clue. So it was just, he just had an amazing race, absolutely flawless. You saw the 2 Alfa Romeos getting caught up. He just had an incident-free race, and sometimes that's just what you've got to do. You don't have to be the fastest, you just have to be the most consistent.
Exactly, and Bahrain was the opening race of the season. Bahrain, and even opening races in general, generally bring a lot of incidents anyway, because it is the first race and it was the first time people racing each other anyway.
Yep.
Ruben Pedreño also had a good race last time out. He finished in second position, definitely a driver to watch out for. He is not going to be here tonight Unfortunately, in the Williams car, he can't make it. Kerfuffle will be replacing him. I believe Kerfuffle was a reserve last week, so great to have him on board. And we saw Nomsy and Tom Martinez, have a fantastic race last time out. Tom Martinez pulled off the alternate strategy to perfection. He just missed out on the podium. I was watching his POV the other day, and he looked effortless, to be honest, as well. And he's been very, very excited about the forthcoming season, and we're interested to see how he handles Japan, of course. I wonder if it is the alternate strategy that works well, or if he needs to improve on that as well. And Ace Modesto Mena finished quite well as well. And Cookie got some points as well, but Cookie is racing in Tier 1 this week, so that's why he is not here. And I wish Cookie the best of luck. Tier 1's actually going on right now at the moment if you want to check it out, but make sure you have both streams on at once, because I'm sure Tier 2 is just going to be just as great. These drivers are the start of the future, not gonna lie. And replacing Cookie tonight is Luca in the Alpine tonight, and we've got let's see who else is in tonight, because I don't want to say who's replacing, and they may not be replacing any driver. So Top Jack is replacing Modesto Mena in the Williams. We have got Rainbow replacing Lefted in the McLaren. Obviously Lefted is in Tier 1 tonight. And I think that is it for all the reserves. I think we're just waiting on a few more drivers to get going, but there's certain drivers who I feel really need to step up their game after some horrible races. Floris Vyers was almost up there last week. He had some good battles, but he got caught up in a few incidents, but he's feeling a bit more confident with his pace tonight. He can match up the top guys as well. We've got the likes of Christian Sendel, who got pole last week but couldn't quite get it out. He got tangled up with his teammate, but he will have a new teammate this season, and we'll see how they get on as well. So a few drivers that I know will get more points if they put their mind to it. And also we got Vexit, who is making his debut to WOR this season tonight after missing last week. And also Dave Rumbus is also making his full-time debut as well. So I wonder how these two are going to fare with them missing the first round, because it is hard to carry that momentum, but they've probably seen how their compatriots have performed, and I wonder if they're going to live up to expectations, because Vexit is definitely a driver to watch out for. Dave Rombus, you know him very well because he used to race on Xbox as well. So what could you expect from Dave Rombus tonight?
You see a lot of drivers where they'll be consistent and not so quick, or quick and not very consistent, where he's got all of it. I remember it was in Tier 3 on Xbox, and the first half of the season he was absolutely nowhere. Then all of a sudden I think he got 12 podiums in a row, and it was just his pace is, when he's on it. And I seem to remember the Japan race last season. I think he won that one, so expect him to be somewhere near the top, definitely.
Yes, and I do believe we are getting ready for the session to get underway finally. We only got 17 drivers tonight. I feel we got a few drivers missing, so I'm trying to see who we're missing. So we're missing a Haas driver and two of the Alfa Romeos. I think Christian Sendel is not going to be here tonight, and I don't know who's quite missing in the Haas. So 3 drivers, and Vexit is using his real name for the rest of the season, so he will be known as Luke Smith. So if you're confused why you don't see Vexit in the display, it is actually Luke Smith, just to be double checking. So Japan with less overtaking spots. I'm almost certain that qualifying is going to be even more crucial than last week, because there's certain places on the grid where not many people have won here before. There's been a few occasions where we saw Mika Hakkinen got 51 podium finishes in F1, and one of them was in Suzuka. And there was a famous Senna and Prost collision in 1989 where Alan Prost originally won, but then it was Senna that won eventually in the following year in the first lap collision. So Senna kind of returned the favour there as well. And also in 2000, Schumacher won his first Ferrari title as well. And, there was just great moments. We may see some history here tonight as well. We saw Cookie Games won last season in Japan, and we saw Monaha, who is racing an Xbox this season, won here as well. So we could be on the history books at the moment. It was wet in Tier 1 in qualifying, but it is not going to be wet here at the moment. It is a nice sunny day at the moment, but you never know what might happen. It could change at a drop of a hat because the weather is set to approximate. So let's see what they could do as the drivers are going to get their setups on.
That'll be a huge sigh of relief for a lot of drivers when it's bone dry, because you've got to remember, you've done a bit of league racing as well before, Jess. You do all your practice in the dry.
Yeah.
It's not very often you actually do some wet practice. I think it's probably Brazil and this track where you maybe do a bit of wet practice, but even when you do the bit of wet practice, it's about 5 laps in a time trial, really. Nothing like any Grand Prix distances which you do in the dry. But yeah, like I said, this will be such a big sigh of relief for the people who haven't put enough time in the wet. But those people who put loads of time in the wet and think, oh, well, that was pointless.
Yeah, exactly. I know some people are rain merchants and just want to have to be rain all day and every day, but there's some drivers that are like, you know, can we just have dry all the time? I'm kind of a bit of a mixture, to be honest, and you got to be prepared for anything, really, because if you're not, then you're probably not going to have a consistent season. And if you want to be in the top tier in WOR in the future, then you just got to have a setup that works for you. Now, everybody's gone on the soft tyres apart from Totjat and Tom Martinez, so I'm assuming it is going to be a dry session, because otherwise a lot of more people will be on the soft compounder tyres. Well, I'm riding on board with Oscar now, as we're probably going to go on the board with a hot lap very, very soon, as we're starting to see people make their way into Sector 1. Now, not many people are on the track right now, and there's nobody on the inters, obviously, unlike Tier 1, because obviously there's one qualifying session where you have three sets of the softs and 1 set of the medium tyres. So Top Jack does not want to race any of the soft tyres straight away, and the same with Tom Martinez, as well as Oskaya has broken a little bit of the bollards there. So that's not good if you're using that as braking reference heading towards the Casio Triangle. So let's go on board with the Haas driver as they make their way towards turn 1. You're just going to be braking just a little bit into this first part. And he's invalidated his lap. So not a good start to my hot laps, unfortunately, as I'll have to go on board with somebody else. Let's see who else is about to start a lap. I believe one of the Red Bulls, I believe, of Ace. No, actually not Ace. I'm sure I did see one of the Red Bulls on a lap. I might be wrong. Nope, it is Neon. It is Neon on a lap as they head towards turn 1. Luckily, he hasn't went wide in turn 1, so he's a bit more comfortable on the S. His car feels very, very planted right now. I've spoken to a few drivers, actually, in this league, and they said that Japan is a lot harder on this game, and he's hit the wall and he's got damage, and we thought that he's qualifying over, but that is lucky that he got away unscathed right now. And I'm trying to find someone on board a lap. There we go. Days Rumbus, come on, don't jinx me, please. Don't commentators curse me. Just finish a lap as he goes towards the Dunlop curb, which is a great overtaking opportunity. And I do believe you're allowed to give slipstream in this tier. You're heading towards the hairpin. The AI could be so around there, but in multiplayer, then you got to be alert. You always get a chance to dive it up in the inside. You need to take the wider outside line through the hairpin. The spoon curb is named after the shape of the 2 corners coming up now, and you got to nail it as you head towards 5th gear on entry and 4th on exit. And squirt the throttle a little bit. You don't want to be on the power too early. You go on up the hill as you head towards the infamous 130R. Some people could be brave to get an overtake one here. I did see people try to go around my inside in 130R in some league races from mine. Not good. Because I'm not usually that good around here. Heading towards the Casio Triangle now, and Dave Wombers has not let me down. He's actually done a lap, and it is a 127.3, the first driver to get a lap time on the board.
Yeah, it's always just important. Usually in the short qualifying sessions, you get about three runs in usually. You can usually take a bit of time in between, but when you get to tracks like Spa, you've got to be really quick, get in, get straight back out on a fresh set of tyres. But always the first run, just get a lap in. Just don't invalidate it, just get something in. So even if you do maybe get crashed into, you crash out yourself, or don't get any more laps in, at least you've got that one lap. Even if it puts you 15th, for example, it's better than having no lap and starting last.
Yeah, exactly. And if you want to get stuff done now, you may be qualifying in, I'll say, P8, P9 compared to if you're starting at the back as well, because I know we're on these around here. I tried it. It's not ideal. So they want to be qualifying as high up the grid as they possibly can. As Vexit, also known as Luke, has gone on the top of the timing sheet. I think we are expecting 126s, 125s today from some of these drivers. I think probably about a few more attempts when the track is most grippiest. I think we'll see as well. JC's last week's race winner is in second. Jeffrey in third. Josh, who also did quite well, comes across the line in fourth position, and I think we're just waiting for an Alpine to come across the line. That is, I think that's Luca that I was trying to go on board with. Nope, he's diving into the pits as we do have a yellow flag. I believe that's, I thought that was Rainbow, but no, that's Dave Rombus that is heading into the pits. Quite a few invalidations already. I do believe Flores Vias has invalidated. Yes, he has, as he comes in to the pits with no time set on the board. Mr. Anker, another driver that needs to up his pace. The Aston Martins, I think, will need to improve there. And yes, he has invalidated too. I think people have been saying, oh, you can't invalidate here. But turn one, commonplace. Casio Triangle, commonplace as well. And maybe through Spoon Curve if you go a little bit wide as well. So I think this is one of those tracks, Germo, where we'll probably see less penalties compared to Bahrain.
Oh, definitely. It's literally the classic old school track where everyone look at your screens now. I don't see any tarmac runoff. It's just grass, gravel and a bit of curb, and that's it. And it's just, as a driver, you've just got that instinct of, if I do run wide on the grass, I'll end up spinning or losing heaps of time. But when you've got that bit of AstroTurf or tarmac runoff, you can just run off and think, oh, well, if I do run off, I'll probably just lose a tiny bit of time and I'll carry on as if it's nothing. But at an old school track like this, it's so difficult, and you do sort of give it that 95% rather than 100, just so you don't dip a wheel in the gravel and spin. And especially with, like you mentioned at the start of the commentary, the fact there's only one DRS zone, so even though there's quite a few long straights, it is quite hard to get close. So if you do end up spinning, losing loads of positions, you can't just come straight back and gain them all back.
No, you can't. You really got to get a perfect set to into the S's. If you get a bad S's, your lap is going to be ruined. Not going to lie. So I think it's very, very important to keep consistent throughout. So as a few drivers are about to start their next lap. Let's go on board with the Haas driver again as he's about to start his lap once more. Hopefully it's not invalidated. Neon has not set a representative lap time at the moment. But whilst we see some lap times come through, it gives me a good opportunity to talk about what's happened in the stewards last week. There was quite a few incidents reported as well, and luckily they were dealt with. There was a few things that were also in there which we're not going to say, of course, but Flores Vias reset to track last week, so we got a 5-second time penalty, and there was an incident between Joshua Kozani and someone else, and that resulted in no further action. There was 4 warnings removed from Primoz Mikalev, which I believe is Cookie, meaning he gets 6 seconds removed from his race time. And there was qualifying bans for Luca and Kerfuffle for blocking certain drivers. So Luca for blocking Tom Martinez, and Kerfuffle after blocking Carter. So that is why Kerfuffle has retired. He was allowed to do 1 installation lap, go into the pits, and then retire. And that is his qualifying done as well. So yes, I'm actually trying to see if I can find a lap for you to go on board with as well. Dave Rombus we already went on board with, so there's no point going on board with him. But we're starting to see Fritzen go fast. Is Luke not that far behind? And I think we're starting to see the track evolving a lot more in terms of grip.
Yeah, we definitely are. As the past 3 or 4 F1 games, they've started to introduce the feature where the more you run on the track, the quicker it will go, which is realistic, but I do often quite say with the F1 games, it is a bit too unrealistic in terms of how much time you do gain. And I know you see in F1 where they will gain a few hundredths, maybe a tenth, 2 tenths, but in this, the lap you do at the end of the session compared to the start could be 2, 3, 4, 5 tenths quicker than your previous one. So like I said earlier, because you're pushing so much harder on your last lap, it's important to get that first one in case you do end up spinning. But yeah, it's like I said, you do get 3 runs. So if you manage to mess up all 3 of your runs, you probably need to have a bit of a hard look at yourself. Yeah,
and even though it's quite a long season, 14 races, I believe, you can't have more than, I would say, 1 or 2 odd races. And,
yeah, exactly.
And if you have, like, say, 3 or more, then pretty much consider your championship done and dusted. You pretty much would have to win all your races left going into this to stay in the championship fight, which is not ideal right now. So we're starting to see, I think, the pecking order. And JC is a man who I've seen up there all the time now. He's definitely not a one-trick pony, because we were expecting him to be winning the race in Bahrain and then disappear at the face of the earth. But no, he's not. He's definitely up there. He's a driver that I've not seen in any league races before, and he was recently picked up by the former SIG team, and now he's probably trying to find another team. I'm sure there's some esports teams that are looking at him with good interest right now to see what could this man actually do, because I'm sure that there's more esports team looking to develop their PC roster, as I believe JC's going towards the hairpin now as well. But there's a few more drivers about to finish their lap, one of which I believe is not Josh, it's his teammate of Fritzen about to start his out lap. But here comes Josh as he heads towards past the Casio triangle, as the exit goes fastest with a 126.5, so he is improving. He did say he likes this track. Josh comes across the line now. Let's see what he could do. He doesn't improve. He's about 5/100 slower on his previous best. So let's go on board with Rainbow. And Jermo, would you like to take us on board a hot lap with Rainbow? Sorry.
Yeah, with me, I'd love to be racing, but unfortunately, I'm stuck up here. But yeah, going down to turn one, like I said, the only DRS zone. You'll be flying into here, just a bit of braking while you turn, and you want to get it tucked to this apex. He has just missed it, as you see. He wants to just be on that white line, and he's managed to get a bit of snap of oversteer, which obviously is cost him time through these S's. These S's are so important. You have to get the first one right. If you mess the first one up, it's so hard to correct all the way through. You're just losing time all the way through the S's, and now we're going towards Degner 1 and 2. This Degner is pretty much just a lift and a tiny tap of brake, and then this is where you do all of your braking. Just tap the curb, use all the exit curb. Beautiful there from Rainbow. And again, another corner like the first corner. You've got to be turning and braking, tiny bit of lock up, short shifting, and see, he didn't short shift him into fourth then. So obviously he's got a lot of wheel spin and is just eking time down this straight. Now, this isn't the hooked up lap in the world, but any lap will do when you've not really put a competitive lap time. When you see the lap times of Luke Smith with a 26, he definitely wants to be in the 26s, not stuck in the 27s. Coming up to 130R now, not really a corner. It might as well be a straight. Nowadays in F1, you don't even see them go all the way out to the right-hand side. They usually take the apex and then keep over to the left. And as you see there, he's done it straight away. Come to the left, open up the corner for the Casio triangle, and look at the amount of curves he's using here. Look, that's just to make it as straight as possible. He's going towards the line. Like I said, I don't think it will be a competitive time, but we'll find out. Ooh. Oh, not too bad. In P6, not too bad.
That is a 126.8, and I think we have 3 drivers already in the 126.8s as well as JC as well. So we can have some tasty sessions, not going to lie, as Jeffrey Ritchie unfortunately has retired as well. He does not have a qualifying ban, so I think he must have binned it earlier as well. Luca feeling not as comfortable heading through Spoon Curve, so he must have binned it somewhere. So I do believe he's going to have to go out again, of course. Some of these drivers obviously fairly new to WOR, so they probably haven't raced each other in a long time. Everybody else is making their way into the pit. So let us know who you think is going to get pole position today, as Flores Ryan is actually in P2 with a 126.6. That is what he was aiming for in practice earlier on, and I'm sure he's been going to be very, very happy with that he's not that far off Luke Smith, as Luca tries to go into the pits as quickly as he possibly can, as we only have a few drivers on their out laps right now for about 3 minutes and 50 seconds to go in the session. You want to be really going within 2 minutes, I would say, with 3 minutes to go, in order to actually set your final lap in time, because otherwise you're going to be in trouble. Everybody is selected the soft compounded tyres for their final runs. Well, it is to be expected, because you would rather want to be going either for a soft hard strategy, or some people could try for a soft to medium strategy. Luckily, the Tier 1 guys had free tyre choice for their session. We don't have that luxury, because obviously it is a dry session, but who knows, there could be rain on the horizon. There has been some rain races. Don't forget, in 1994, when the race was actually split into 2 parts, don't remember, and I think it was Michael Schumacher that won this first part, and it was Damon Hill that won the second part by, I think, a lot, and he won by 3.6 seconds overall, which allowed Damon Hill to take the race win, and he able to close the gap to Schumacher by 1 point. So that could go very, very frantic right now. So we're seeing more people setting their final laps. Let's hope we don't get a Monza situation. But any drivers do you think that need to step it up that haven't stepped it up so far?
I think in Josh, he put a good performance in. Luca, last qualifying, managed to get himself up into P9, but then got that 5-second penalty in the qualifying, which obviously ended up putting him down a few positions. I think just having a clean qualifying for Luca would just be a lot better this time, because you can be as quick as you want, but if you're constantly spinning or making mistakes, giving yourself those five grid drops, there's no point in being, pushing and being. Kaya there just crashed into on the exit of Degner 2. I was trying to figure out who that was, but yeah, that's pretty much his qualifying over. 2 minutes left, no wing. He's not going to be able to get back to the pit lane and get that fixed and get back out again.
Nah, that is a shame as well. But he's retired from the session. But
I think that might have been on purpose.
That might have been on purpose. I don't think you're allowed to do that, but I think the stewards will probably look into that. But I have to say, Nomsy and Neon, I think, will need to step it up a little bit. Anchor as well. Everybody else will probably just need to find a few more temps, and they should be absolutely fine. People are just getting heat into their tyres now and about to go for one final run in this beautiful Japanese circuit. A track, I think, that is going to produce something excellent, something cool. Even though some people think it's not a good track to overtake, I think this is where the most risk is taken, and some more battles going around the outside, especially into turn 1. Where is Nomsy at the moment? He's just starting his lap past sector 1. There is a yellow flag. Is, I believe, someone moving out the way, I think. So they should be fine on that regard. And Flores Vies is about to start his lap 2. I'm just trying to see who will be the last person to set a lap time. I do believe it will be one of the McLarens of either Days Rumbus or Rainbow. They do not have that long to go until the end of the session, as Flores has unfortunately binned it in the S's there. So that is his qualifying done. JC's about to start his lap time. I expect he's going to be challenging for pole position. We'll see if anyone comes across the line. We've got a Mercedes of Fritzen, who's just got past turn 1 now. What about his teammate of Josh? He's about to start his out lap. The AlphaTauri, I believe, of Jay Verhaeghe is about to start his lap, unless the other Jay is going through the dead in the curve. So I'm just seeing who's improving. JC's purple in sector 1. That is looking good for Jay. His first sector was absolutely perfect. And we'll see if he can improve on that as Dave Rhombus comes across the line to start his lap. Rainbow as well. And let's see, there's the people about to cross the line will be on their final lap. So Top Jack, I believe, is going through sector 1. And no one's coming across the line as of yet, as I can't see how much is remaining of the session because there's yellow flags in sector 1, 2 and 3, as Top Jack has unfortunately invalidated his session. And hopefully people move out the way. That'll be lovely. Here comes Luca. He needed a good qualifying session. He's in 12th at the moment. Can he get higher and get into the 126? He's taking the shortest one to the line. He's in the top 10 for now, but for how much longer? As he's got JC, who goes on pole position right now. And there's a few people slowing down, so they can't improve. Vexit, he's coming across the final few corners. Anchor, Kerfuffle and Nomsy did not set a lap time, or a bit of a slide going towards the final corner for Vexit. Can only manage third, and he does not improve, unfortunately. And what about the two McLarens? We've got Dave Rhombus, the Xbox Tier 3 extraordinaire from last season. Can he show us what he's made of by coming across the line? P6, he improves by 2,000 of a second. We've got, I think, none of the Red Bulls are improving, I don't think. So I think we're just waiting for Jay Verhaeghe to come across the line. So I don't think Flores is going to improve because he's slowing down. Nope, Jay is in the pits. He can't improve. He's happy with 9th position. And it is last week's race winner, Germo, who is on pole position. Can he convert that into another race victory? Remains C to be believed. But JC setting the benchmark in qualifying with a 126.446.
Well, like you say, he didn't get the pole last time out. He ended up getting a P5. So if he can get the win from starting P5, I imagine he can get a win from starting first. But obviously that's the the best position to start in the opening laps, though, so crucial. Try and break that DRS, so the guys behind find it a lot harder to actually close up to you and make that overtake. Like we said, it is quite difficult to overtake here, but yeah, those opening few laps are going to be so important for him.
Yep, it is. Absolutely incredible job from him. The AlphaTauri is doing well in the constructors, so let's go through him. Fritzen as well, also making his debut in WRPC Tier 2, showing what he's made of in P2 at the moment, behind JC by 1/10 of a second. And we got Luke Smith, Loris Vyers, Tom Martinez, a much better qualifying session from him this week. Let's see if he can get on the podium. Dave Rombus in 6th, Rainbow 7th, Richie in 8th, Jay Bahar in 9th, Luca in 10th. They get to start on the tyres they qualified on. Then we got 3 choice of tyres from Neon, Josh, Oskaya, Top Jack, Nomzi, Kafuffle and Mr. Anchor. And that is your grid for round 2 of PC Tier 2 for the Japanese Grand Prix. It's going to be very, very exciting, to tell the truth, on who we think is going to get the race victory. I made so many predictions to my co-commentator last week, but I got them wrong and jinxed a few people. A few people were not happy with me going into the race, but there we go. So we'll go through actually your results from last week. It's looking a bit cloudy at the moment in Japan. You can't see it on screen at the moment, but it is not as sunny as it was when we were in Japan last in qualifying. So JC is your championship leader with Ruben Pedreño in second. Then we got Nomzi, Tom 97, Shizu 8th, Modesto Mena, Joshua Kazani, and QVR Cookie and Oskaya, and then Christian Sendel were your point scorers. Your Constructors' Championship, Williams are leading with 26 points. Then AlphaTauri, 25 points. Alpine, 19 points. Then Ferrari, 12 points. Red Bull Racing, 10 points. Mercedes, 6 points. Haas, 2 points. Alfa Romeo on 1 point. And then McLaren and Aston Martin yet to score. So, Jermo, we're now going to be looking to see what tyres everybody has chosen for the race outside the top 10. And we've got everybody on the mediums apart from Nomzi, who's decided to go for the softs. What would you do if you were racing around this track?
I think whenever you start outside the top 10, you've got to try and do something different. Start on the alternate strategy and just try and overcut everybody. I think if you just do the same as what the top 10 are doing, you're probably going to get the same results. So you're not going to move many positions apart from the people who do end up making mistakes or crashing. So I think for me personally, 100% do the alternate strategy. But it is interesting, like you say, there is one person, Nomzi, trying the sauce. Maybe he thinks he is a lot quicker, shouldn't be qualifying down there, should be qualifying a lot higher. He did qualify P3 in Bahrain, so maybe he does think he's a lot quicker than the majority of the grid in front of him. So he's going to try and use those soft tyres to try and get as high up as possible and put himself with the people who he think has a similar pace.
Yeah, exactly. And then the top 10 on at the soft. There's some information about how long these tyres could go on for. The softs could last quite a bit around this track, actually. I was quite surprised when I was doing some research before going into this race as well. So if they could do a Bahrain and stretch out long enough for them to do a soft to mediums, so be it. But I think some people will try soft to hards. 7 to 9 if they want to do soft to hard strategy, but maybe if they want to do soft to mediums, they can pit lap 11 and they could just about get the mediums to the end if they're lucky. We'll see. So soft lasts 11 laps, mediums last 16 laps, hards last 20. And if we need the inters or the full wets, the inters last the same amount of laps as the mediums, and the full wets last the same amount of laps as the hards. The softs and mediums around about a 5/10 delta difference to each other, and soft to hards about a 1 second gap, and the medium to the hards is about a 5/10 gap. So pretty even split between all three tyre compounds. So the tyre wear is not too bad around this track, as we're just waiting for the final few drivers to make their way onto the grid. So we've got JC on pole, Fritzen alongside, and we've got a few drivers not that far behind, ready to take advantage if any of the other drivers fall short. So who is ready then for round 2 of WRPC Tier 2? The 5 red lights are coming on. And we are underway. Good start for JC. Also good start from Fritzen, but Vex has got a much better start than most people as well, as they all make their way towards turn 1. JC is pulling away. Look at Flores Vyers. He's made all the way from 3rd to 2nd position, and Fritzen drops it down from 2nd. Not ideal for him, but we got the two Ferraris working together as we got a few contact in the background. I think we got Neon has had a bit of a spin in the S's section. So easy to do around there, unfortunately, but that's not a shame for that. And then we got the Haas car that's also gone off as well. So much contact in the background into the gravel trap just past the Dunlop curve. We got Luca that's had a bit of an incident. I wonder if those two have made contact already. A 3-second time penalty as we're seeing Rainbow going side by side with Jay into the hairpin. Left hand side he goes, getting a better run then as they make their way towards the next section. Spoon curve coming up very, very soon. Jay does not want to let Rainbow go as they head towards Spoon, but Rainbow has had none of that and he's up into P8. The two McLaren's doing a pretty decent job, and we got Nomsy making his way up into 12th position, so he's had a good start and he's looking to get past Josh, who's had an awful start. Fritz and his teammates also had an awful start as well. Tom Martinez is looking like he's gone past him into 1 for 30 yard. Can he do it? Yes, he does. Actually, no, it was Luke Smith actually that got past him. And so Luke is up into 3rd. Tom Martinez almost got past him and up into 5th. What a crazy start to this race there, Jermo.
Yeah, crazy start, but it's still going. Look at Richie and Rhombus here side by side again. And Days Rhombus gets through into turn 1, but Jeffrey's not letting this go. He's attacking back onto him. It's really close. Looking back, casting our minds back to turn 1, 3 abreast into turn 1, and then quite a lot of 2 abreast going through the S's. So no one willing to give an inch at the opening phase of the race.
No, they're not. They're just not giving up, aren't they? They are taking a lot more aggressive moves now than they would do earlier on in the race. And Oskaya is out of this race, and I think he's probably retired in the pit lane, so I think there's no need for a safety car. And unfortunately, we do get the timing tower glitch, unfortunately, which should have been fixed ages ago, but it hasn't. So hopefully we can see who they are at the moment, as Top Jack has been passed by VRT Josh. So actually they're probably having a little bit of a scrap now. Let's go on board. We are getting some weird camera angles there as well, as we can see Nomsy also in this fight as well. So they head towards Spoon Curve. It looks like Top Jack is feeling a little bit more confident on Nomsy. And we got Josh not that far behind either. Top Jack doing a splendid job on these mediums, as he looks like he's going to try and close in onto the AlphaTauri driver. Let's go on board with Jeffrey Ritchie, looking to get past Dave Rhombus right on the gearbox there. He's very tenacious driver, Jeffrey Ritchie, and he doesn't take no for an answer. Dave Rhombus looked like he was going to get past Tom there as well, but looks like Dave Rhombus stays behind for now. Looking at the top two, they're just running away with it at the moment compared to the other drivers. These could be the 2 top contenders for the race victory today, but we're not going to count our chickens. We're only on lap 3, DRS enabled, and it's not going to be used until we get into the Casio Triangle later on. But a little bit of a slide from Lois again. That will allow Vexit to gain some needed time to potentially get P2.
And look at that, Days Rhombus has got 3-second time penalty, the first time penalty of the evening, and we're only on lap 3. So by this rate, he'll probably end up being disqualified by the end of the race.
Yes, we don't want disqualifications. I think we saw Luca almost get disqualified, I think, earlier on last week, but luckily he didn't. So if you get a time penalty this early on, then you're probably screwed. So Days Rhombus, come on, mate. Don't get any more penalties and you should be absolutely fine. So I think this is where we're going to start to see the true overtakes happen now between our leaders. Luke Smith doing very well with his ERS right now. Let's see what Flores is doing in 2nd position. He's doing a lot better. JC, he's doing roughly about the same. Let's see if JC covers Flores off. He's not going to get the overtake yet, but here comes Flores with the DRS. I don't think he's going to be close enough, but you never know. He's got a brilliant launch into the start-finish straight then. Is he going to take the race lead? Comfortably done there in turn 1. He looked faultless there, and unfortunately he's going to have no DRS in the final straight, but he's probably relieved that there's no other DRS zones around this track, so he could take it easy for a little bit. Meanwhile, Luke Smith could take that advantage and say, you know what? You let Flores past you, I'm going to get past you as well. So we'll see what happens. And let's see what Luke could do into Dunlop. Well, past Dunlop anyway. And I think he just about has the edge in the hairpin, maybe. No, he does not. I think we got the other Ferrari of Tom Martinez not that far behind as well. 4/10 of a second adrift there as well. I'm interested, Gemma, about Tom Martinez ERS. He's almost on 100%. He's just probably waiting for the perfect moment to use up all the battery and don't drain up too much, because in Japan it's one of those races where if you use up too much earlier on, you're pretty much gone. So that's probably what Tom is doing. And Gemma, we just seen Luca that's just retired from the race.
Yeah, it's not a very good start. He didn't have a very good race in Bahrain, and to continue like this is obviously not what you want. It's so hard where you have one bad race and you're just trying to make up for it, and sometimes you can just push too much and end up just screwing your championship over, really. But going back to what you were talking about, Tom Martinez, yeah, look at his ERS compared to Fritzen's, and here, look, if you see him now, he's got slipstream on him, straight past him, easy. He had 80% going into that corner, and Fritzen had, I think it was around 50, so that just shows he's got the pace, and he didn't even need to use ERS to actually get close to him, it was just to make the overtake.
Brilliant stuff from Tom. One place shy of a podium. The two Ferraris actually doing a lot better than last week's. I think we had only one Ferrari in the top 10, whereas I think this looks like a very strong pairing in terms of constructors, so both, I would say both almost evenly matched. Obviously, for those of you that don't know Tom, he is a Veloce content creator who does splendid things for the community, and he still league races as well, which is a great role model for other league racers that want to start out as well. And he's improving week in, week out, and he's looking to go back into top tier racing one day. But this is a perfect platform at WR and at PSGL to find his footing a little bit. I've seen him in the last game get one title in one other league as well. He could add another one to his name. But his teammate looks like he's going to get JC as well, as Flores actually pulled off a brilliant gap towards everyone. Luke could get him towards the Casio triangle, then go to the left-hand side. JC with a perfect switchback and defense of dreams here. And JC's trying to break that slipstream, but I think there's nothing that JC could do, I think. But we'll see what Luke does. Can JC close the door? JC's actually going to go for the move. Oh my God, Luke's going to try and go around the outside. Is he actually going around the outside into the S's? That is crazy. Exit. What a move. One of the moves on the stream so far. Rainbows unfortunately had a bin into the S's, sadly, in turn one. So he's dropped down into 13th. But Luke, that was absolutely incredible. Not many people say they can overtake around the outside. This man just did it, my friend, and he's not in contention for that race victory.
Well, JSG ended, 2 laps ago, JSG let Wires through, and I thought he'd just latch onto the back of him and keep with him, but Wires was pulling away, so I imagine in Luke Smith's scenario, he's looking at that thinking, you just let him past him, you're just going to let him speed up into the distance, no thank you, and just dive straight past him and thought, right, if you're just going to let him go past, I'm going to go past as well, and I'm going to leave you for dead.
Yeah, I know. I'm sure Vexit was watching JC's and Flores Vire's battle in the distance as well, and he saw that he think he could get past, but JC was challenging him right now as well. I say Luke Smith is the fastest guy on track right now, because he's closing into Flores Vire's like a hawk right now. He was held up by some of the guys, but now he's able to have some clear air between himself and JC. He should be absolutely fine. But looking down the rest of the grid, we got Nomsy, who I would say driver of the race so far. He started 14th, I believe, but now he's up into 9th. So already in the points, because don't forget the top 10 do score points in WOR, and 25 points to the race winner, 1 point to 10th place. Just like in Formula 1, just keep it nice and simple and he should be absolutely fine. And this is the point of the race where if the drivers want to go for the hard compounded tyres, they're going to be thinking about pitting right now. But I'm almost certain there was a few discussions that most people were going to do soft to medium, so they are going to go for the gamble like they did last week, and why not? I like people taking gambles in this league. You don't want to play it safe at times, because you are fighting for a potential esports seat in the future, and maybe a tier 1 seat in the future as well. And Nomsley almost looking good on the hairpin as well. These drivers who are still in this race, apart from Rainbow that had their spin, they're all evenly matched. They're all in one DRS train, which is pretty incredible. If one person makes a mistake in this train, it will allow more people to potentially gain some moves. I'm sure a lot of drivers will be taking advantage of this undercut. In particular, if you're like Jeffrey Ritchie, for example, right in the middle of this train, you've got some dirty air, which is not going to help you. Let's watch Nomsley, though, as he makes his way past into 130. I don't think he's a little bit close. He's not that close enough, unfortunately. Is anybody going to dive it into the pits? Floris Vyers stays in. So does Luke. JC stays in as well. None of them are budging, so it looks like, Jermo, it is going to be a soft to medium strategy for our soft runners.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like if you want to go for the hard, you want to be pitting now, and seeing so many people start on the medium, I feel like everybody is going to be doing the soft medium or medium soft strategy. Going back to what you just said earlier, it's quite interesting. Just look at the gaps on the left hand side. Nobody's outside a second of another car apart from Rainbow at the back of the grid. And you got to remember, if you're in the middle of two cars, you can't just go for whatever move you feel like, because as soon as you make a move and it doesn't pay off, you fall into the clutches of the car behind, and then a second gap opens up to the car in front, you're out of the DRS, and then you're just falling back like you mentioned. So you just got to just size your opponent up, see where he's weak, and then when you see the chance, you need to seize it so you're right on the back of the car in front of him so you don't lose that DRS.
Yeah, and I think Floris Vyers is probably the only one apart from Rainbow who is in a disadvantaged situation because he has no DRS, but he's pulling away like no tomorrow and he's handling the pressure. I know some drivers do have their engineers as well in the party with them, so they've been given tips on how they can best approach this race. And we do know this race can sometimes throw in a safety car. We've seen it in many other leagues around this track. WOR has played victim to a lot of safety cars around Japan. I did watch a few of them last season, especially around Xbox. So it could mean a lot at the moment. None of these guys are still budging at the moment, but look at Jeffrey Ritchie on a beautiful run, getting past Dane Rhombus into the start-finish straight then. Is Dane Rhombus not going to make Jeffrey's time look easy? He's just backed out of it. Jeffrey Ritchie got the move done. It wasn't like Luke and JC who was going for the move. Jeffrey and Dane Rhombus, it was just plain sailing for the Red Bull driver who's looking to score more points and have a much better race compared to last week. And it looks like there's a much cleaner race as well. There's hardly been any instance from the top guys as well, so hopefully a much easier night for the stewards in terms of Tier 2, because there was quite a few incidents last week, and I think Fritzen has also dropped out of this DRS train as well, so he's going to suffer from Jeffrey Ritchie as well. Don't be surprised if we can see another move from the Red Bull driver as Fritzen falls out of DRS.
Yeah, especially now he's fell out of DRS, he's in a vulnerable position now, and it wouldn't surprise me now if you see the top four speed away and it's pretty much just those four in contention for the win now. Fritzen needs to get straight back in that DRS, use and burn his ERS, but look, I'm on board with him right now and he's only got 30% ERS and Tom in front has got 70, so if he does want to catch up, Martinez is just going to look behind him, see the gap close, press his ERS and pull away again, and as you can see the gap just hasn't moved, it's still 1.2, and this is where we come into the detection zone now and he's out with that 1 second, so we could probably see Jeffrey go for a move into turn 1.
We're seeing drivers go into the pits, Jermo. Drivers going into the pits. Floris Vyers is in. So is Luke Smith as well. Tom Martinez is staying out because his teammate has gone in. We also got the likes of James Wombus, Ritchie and JC also in the pits, all going for the medium compound tyres, which is a bit of a risk at this early stage of the game, but we said it was a risk to pit early for the mediums in Bahrain last week, and did they do it? Absolutely. So do not count these drivers out to get those tyres to the end. They're going to be absolutely toast at the end, but who cares? I'm sure the Tier 1 drivers are in exactly the same predicament at the moment. So we've just got 4 drivers out on the softs. I think they're all out because their teammates have gone in. So apart from Nomsley, I'm a bit intrigued on why Nomsley has stayed out because his teammates are out of the race. I understand why the other 3 drivers are still out to cover off their teammates, but why is Nomsley and Fritzen out, I wonder? Maybe they just feel like the softs are much quicker right now, but you can already see the mediums runners who are staying out for a long time, including our alternate strategy leader, Top Jet. They're starting to catch up.
100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 1 Well, this is going to be so important now for Martinez. This needs to be an absolutely blistering lap because I imagine he wanted to pit last lap, but obviously Luke, his teammate, was in front of him, so he's just going to lose so much time if he was to double stack. They're not as quick as the Mercedes double stack we often see in F1. It's a lot slower in the actual game. And look, I've just on board with him then, leaving the Casio triangle. So much wheel spin, and he is carrying on. He's still going, so I hope maybe he's just banking on his medium tyres being strong at the end and being able to make the positions, because even though he had a free pit stall, Luke wasn't in the pits like last lap, he still decided to stay out. So that'll be a very, very interesting person to watch for the rest of the race.
Meanwhile, Jay Verhaert, Fritzen and Nomzi are in. Let's watch Floris Vyers and see if he could go ahead on most of these drivers. And he does quite comfortably. So the undercut of Dreams worked very well. It'll be interesting to see how Luke did on his pit stop, because he lost about 1.4 seconds on Floris Vyers that lap. And they both pitted at exactly the same time. So I wonder what Luke was doing. He was maybe not comfortable with his outlap, or maybe Floris Vyers is a lot more comfortable on the mediums. I don't know. Or maybe Luke Smith is saving his medium stint to the end of the race, and where he can go quicker, just like maybe Tom Martinez potentially. And there is probably a method into the Ferrari strategy madness at the moment. They probably know what they're doing. They're probably in a party together. I don't know if they are or not, but they might be. And I think Tom is probably seeing what Luke could do with his teammate. And then if Luke can manage to save a bit of grip and go towards the end, then probably Tom should have pitted a lap ago. But we'll see. Tom, we're just waiting for him to dive it in to the pit lane now. Thank you to everybody that's been watching so far. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at WOR League, and also subscribe to us as well. And Tom finally comes into the pits onto the 7 mediums. It's going to look good at the end. Oh no!
Oh, and he sped. No. He tried to make the strategy work. Thought maybe that going a bit later, having stronger mediums at the end, would benefit his race overall, but it doesn't matter now because he's got a speed in the pit lane.
That was unfortunate. His race was going very, very well, and I'm sure there's a lot of drivers that are going to go past him. I think Flores is past him. I think his teammates passed him. Let's see who else gets past. He's almost, I think he was in 4th place, and now he's dropped down into 5th position. So he's only lost 1 place, a net P5, which is not too bad. I think only Jeffrey Ritchie overtook him, because I think JC was directly behind Tom Martinez. So in a way, it could have been worse, but no one else has a 5-second stop go around him. He does, so he's going to lose a chunk of time, and he's going to hope everybody else gets a time penalty too. So, not good for him, but it's not about where you start, it's where you finish. And if there is a safety car, if I was Tom, I would go into the pits and potentially go on the serve softs, get that 5-second stop go served, and then you don't have to worry about it, because probably everybody else will probably do the same thing in pit. So that would get that strategy out of the way. So Tom's probably going to hope for a safety car right now as well. Now, thinking of people that are going to be pitted for the softs, I would strongly say I think lap 16, 17 is when the ones from P1 up downwards are going to go for the soft compound tyres. If you pit earlier, then you're probably going to go for the hard compound tyres. And we're seeing now the medium runners fighting against each other with the likes of Jack, Josh and Anchor as well. And I don't think the alternate strategy could work in their favour unless you're Kerfuffle. I think Kerfuffle could make it work a lot better. But look at Top Jack's pace on the mediums though. He's able to keep the drivers around him steady, but we'll see if Josh can actually get the move done as well. But Top Jack is just hanging in there. Don't forget, it's his first race in WOR, and to be fair, he's doing a pretty decent job.
Yeah, it's not easy to lead, especially when the car behind you is 5/10 behind you on the same tyres of you. It's an evil playing field. He probably is looking at himself now thinking, yeah, I've got the pace to lead this race at the minute, but he's going to be the guy that's in contention, that when they do pit for the soft tyres, he can tear through the field. But looking at his ERS management at the minute, he's got 30%, Josh has got 70 behind him, and if they do have someone else in the party spectating this race as well, that's got to be so important for his engineer to tell Josh, listen, you've got Jack in front, he's only got 30% ERS, you've got 70, you need to get past him before the pit stops.
Yeah, I think that's why we saw Floris Vyers and Luke Smith made those passes on the likes of JC and the Red Bull driver earlier on, because they were able to nail it and had more ERS to play with as well. So that's going to benefit the likes of Josh massively compared to Top Jack. I think Top Jack was trying to fend from some of the drivers earlier on in the race, and I don't think he's going to have enough to last until the end, because there's one bit where he's not harvesting as much, he's not recharging, so that is not going to be good. And I think the only place he's probably recharging his battery is through the heavy braking zones. Heading in towards the hairpin is probably where he's going to gain, and maybe the S's as well, where he gains a little bit. Now we're riding on board with Nomsy right now in 11th. He's just got past Fritzen into turn 1. Again, an easy DRS move, as I have to say as well. He's catching up to Tom Martinez. I believe Nomsy has also got a time penalty. I believe he's got a 3-second time penalty. As all, Fritzen's had a bit of a slide there. I do believe Jay could potentially get past him very soon. Jay is hoping to get some points. He was on course to be getting points last week, but he had a little bit of an incident last week. Jay is one of the drivers in this tier that is also a WR esports driver, so their team are watching Jay with high interest at the moment. As we're already halfway into this race, so much could still happen at the moment, and I think Jay's doing well with his ERS. What about Fritzen? 22. So it looks like Jay is in a similar situation to Fritzen, but he's not able to close up a little bit too much. So I wonder if Jay also has an engineer as well, and I'm sure Jay's engineer will be telling exactly the same thing, except to Fritzen, Jay, Fritzen's got less ERS than you got to get past as well. But they already pitted, so this can go on and on until the end of this race. Let's hope there isn't any incidents. As all, there's someone that's had a bit of a move. That's Tom Martinez. It's got past JC in the Casio triangle, but looks like JC could fight back potentially. No, not quite.
Not enough DRS.
Not enough DRS and ERS. No, as Tom is now into 9th place. He is showing why he wants to gain as many positions as he can, because he wants to get rid of that deficit. He means business now. He wants that podium. 5-second time penalty or not.
Yeah, Tom will be driving angry. He'll be seeing red at the minute, not because he's in the red car, because he's absolutely fuming. It's so irritating when you get speeding in the pit lane, because majority of the time you brake where you've usually broke before, and because he's obviously gone longer on those softer tyres, they're going to have really, really worn rubber, so the braking distances are going to be a lot longer, and it just broke that tiny bit too late. Sped probably by a few miles an hour, and 5 seconds considering what he's gained is absolutely nothing. But like I said, he's going to be driving angry now. He's going to be absolutely tearing through the field now, trying to gain up the time he's lost in the pits.
Yeah, Rainbow's got a 3-second time penalty. He's down in last position at the moment, but he's still keeping going, of course, and keeping steady. And Dave Rombus as well, also with that time penalty as well. And if you do have a time penalty, it could cost you, as Top Jack still stays out. But Josh goes in into the pits, and that is an early stop from Josh. And is he going to go on softs? Yes, he is. Again, a lot earlier than I would have thought.
He's been held.
He's been held.
Got held by the passing Red Bull.
Yeah, he has, which is not good. I think it will allow the likes of Top Jack to probably go ahead of him later on. But Neon has come in as well. I think Neon will be delighted that he probably, Josh got held as well. That is a disadvantage of being the first team in the pit stops. You're going to get held massively from some other cars, which is not ideal. And sometimes I like choosing a lower team when I league race, because then I won't get held up as much. True fact, true story. There we go. As I think Tom Jack will be looking at this, and I'm sure Jack will be wondering and be told that Josh did get held up, and he'll be like, you need to box now. I think any of the top three will need to box now, because otherwise they're going to lose so much time to the likes of Leon, who has just pitted as well. Don't forget the difference between the softs and the mediums, 5/10 of a second, and that is huge. Huge at this stage if you're on all mediums, because that'll be a second increase if that's the case, but not much difference if you the likes of Floris Bias, for example, or the likes of Luke Smith, which Luke has unfortunately run out of DRS, so he's not going to get past Floris, but he's just gained on it and past 130R, so that was the time he definitely needed so far. And Top Jack and Mr. Anchor go into the pits. Kerfuffle stays out. He thinks that the drivers pitting now will not make those tyres until the end, so he's doing a similar strategy to Tom Martinez. So Top Jack comes in and he goes onto the softs, and I think Mr. Anchor is going to do the same. Let's watch Josh, as he's in 13th at the moment. So he comes out and he's just ahead of Top Jack. That being held did not cost him too much. But we know Top Jack's going to be on fresher tyres, so watch out for Top Jack going towards the end of the race. Let's see what Josh can do on the alternate strategy. He's the alternate strategy leader now. If he could get past these drivers who are just on the mediums for about 5 or 6 laps, he's going to be on for some huge points. He's one place off the points. It is hard to overtake around here, but Josh has got to take some huge risks. Germo, can he do it?
Well, this is going to be the difficult thing, isn't it? You look at Days Ramos now, just about to overtake Jade. They're in a train. It's going to be so difficult. Oh, a tiny bit of contact there, so it's going to be even harder for him because look at the cars in front now, 2 abreast, and it's just going to be so difficult to overtake, especially because they're in the train. Even with the faster tyres, it's still going to be just as hard.
Right then, Days Rhombus then right in the middle of this sandwich. The dirty air, you lose so much downforce compared to if you're on clean air, and Days Rhombus looks like he's got double at the moment. Neon has got another time penalty, and it looks like Days Rhombus is going to go for a risk here. Jay Verhaar is going to make sure he's not going to get that toe, Days Rhombus is. So he's going to defend for his life. Jade Verhaar closes the door on Days Rhombus very nicely. He's also got Fritzen right in front as well to contend with. Let's see where Jay plants his car against Days Rhombus, but you can see Josh on the softs. He's already gaining already. Has Neon retired from the session? Could we see a late safety car? Nope, I think it's retirement in the pit lane. So that's unfortunate for Neon. So we're only down to 3 runners. I think we lost 3 runners last week as well, so I think we kind of matched up that. Unfortunately, Neil couldn't quite get past Days Rhombus, but he could get past this lap. I think he's a bit worried at the moment because he's a bit anxious, like, I want to get past, but he's just not. Could this be the hairpin opportunity that he's looking for? At this moment in time, they're going up the hill. Days Rhombus is probably going to see what Josh could do. Can Josh go to the inside? Again, he's backing out, but look at Top Jack. I think Top Jack definitely wants to put more risk right now, as he's a lot faster compared to Josh. He's going to go to the left. He's going to try and go for a move with the spoon. Almost being forced wide goes Josh there. Hopefully there's no contact into spoon curve. Can Top Jack get the run that he does? He definitely does. And he's up into 11th position. So with those fresher tyres, it's worked wonders for the Williams driver. And could he get the run now to close it onto Days Rhombus? He's on the back of him now. This is what he wanted. And he could be one place away of getting points. He probably will get points as Days Rhombus has got a time penalty. So this is a run that Top Jack needs and wants now. Days Rhombus is out of ERS, whereas Top Jack has got plenty of ERS. So he's not going to get the move this lap, but maybe in the hairpin. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll find out, but you can just see just the frustration. Look, he's just trying to get past, but then Days Rhombus is getting the slipstream from Jay and the DRS, so it's not easy just because you're on fresher tyres, and like we said, it is difficult to overtake, and because there is only one DRS zone, that's usually where you're deploying the ERS as well, so if he wants to make a move, he's going to have to do it in an unorthodox place. But then you look at Kerfuffle in P1, he's done 18 laps on the mediums. I don't know why he hasn't pitted yet. I don't know what he's trying to gain, unless he feels like his pace is pretty good on these tyres, but I imagine there'd be a lot better.
He's been hit from behind from Josh. Unfortunately, that's allowed Mr. Anchor to get past, I think, Josh as well. But yeah, I have to say, Kerfuffle, I'm a bit clueless, to be honest, of why he's staying out. I don't think he has nothing to gain. Maybe a late safety car. He's probably predicting a late safety car. But if there isn't a late safety car, he's probably screwed. So he's coming in, as I said that, onto the soft tyres, but he's going to lose a chunk of time. I think he's going to drop behind Josh. He's going to be dropping into 13th place. He's going to be out of the points of this race, and he's going to find it even harder to get past. So that's going to be interesting. So now the Kerfuffle has pitted. It is now Flores Valles that leads from Maluke, from Tom Martinez, from Jeffrey Ritchie. All things could change though with penalties. JC is in 5th position, but he could be in a net 4th. Josh is now out of this race and again in the pit. I think pretty much almost everybody has retired due to some damage earlier, but they retired in the pit lane. A very safe place to do it, of course, because that doesn't cause safety cars. So I just don't see Top Jack able to get past Days Rhombus at this stage because of the amount of time that he's lost to the likes of the medium runners. So I think for the first time in a while, we're not going to see an alternate strategy person being in the top 5. which is not ideal. Don't forget Tom Martinez was on the honest strategy last week. He's on the main strategy this week, and he could be on for some decent points. But again, with that 5-second penalty looming, I don't know if he could do it. He's just got to hope that other drivers around him is making mistakes, and he's got Jeffrey Ritchie right behind him as well, so it may be easier said than done. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'd have to wait and see. But looking at Luke Smith at the minute now, he's got so much more pace than Wise. He's you mentioned earlier in the race, he's probably the quickest guy on the track, and I still feel like that is the case. But even looking at the ARS, he's got 70% and Wise has got 20. And look at this, he's steaming past him into turn one. He's on the outside. Let's see if we can try and move from the outside. No, he just gets shoved wide. Has a bit of a twitch there. He'll have to just try again next lap.
Yeah, very, very close. I think we could see an intense battle between these two towards the end. Don't forget, Flores, former Haas esports driver, versus Vexit, who has really come a long way on this game. First time I heard of him was in the F1 2020 game, and he was so quick in the leagues he was in. He wasn't in that many major leagues, but the leagues he did compete in, he did an incredible job. He even took part in one race in PSGL at one point in Abu Dhabi, I believe, where he scored 1 point against some top esports guys, which I have to say is nothing to be underestimated. It's incredible. He's showing the pace right now, and don't forget, he's missed one race, and he's on course to be scoring more points than some of the drivers that has attended all the races, which is something to be said for this guy in the Ferrari. And with Tom Martinez scoring good points as well, Ferrari could be leading the Constructors' Championship by the end of this race. And that is music to Ferrari's ears. This is music to Matteo Binotto that is watching this race. And it looks like Luke Smith just has that extra grit right now past the Casio Triangle. He's looking more composed. He's got less pressure on him. He's on the attack right now. Flores is trying to break the slipstream, but look at this. Luke Smith is more comfortable on the brakes into turn one. Flores just did not challenge Vexit at all. And I think he knows that Luke was going to get past him anyway, so he did not challenge there. And he's going to still get some good points anyway. As long as Jeffrey does not get past, he should be absolutely fine. But Luke is now your race leader.
Well, I'm surprised why I've made it that easy. I hope maybe he's just thinking of letting him pass, sitting behind in his DRS, just save the ERS and then mount a challenge later in the race. But I'm surprised he just did it that easily, really. Just let him straight past as if it was nothing. And with Luke's pace for the entire race, I wouldn't be surprised if he sped off into the distance.
Yeah, I won't be surprised if we could get out of Flores' DRS range by the end of this race potentially as well, which won't be music to Flores Fire's ears, I have to say. So we'll see more time penalties come through. We saw Jay Verhaeghe picked up one as well. I believe that's his first time penalty of the session. That will probably allow the likes of Fritzen to maintain a position, even if Jay gets past him at the moment. So we're seeing a nice midfield battle developing at this moment in time. And I'm watching JC on his lap at the moment, and his ERS territory is running out right now. He's on 10%. He's going to have the red warning light on the back of his car very soon, so that will signal the likes of Fritzen to go for the attack. And he did say that Luke Smith was the fastest to go on track. That has just proven that right there. 128.493 is the fastest lap from him. That is just incredible from the Ferrari driver. But it is not over until the checker flag falls. We've still got a few laps to go this race. And Topjat has gone for a spinneroonie. He's gone for a spinala into turn one, and he's retired on track. I don't think you're allowed to retire on track, so you will be getting a time penalty. Will we see a late safety car? That is what Tom Martinez will be hoping right now, but not what everybody else will be hoping right now. And I don't think we have a safety car. No, we don't. But there still is a yellow flag in sector 1 on my screen, so there may be a little bit of a bug on my end as well. And massive shout out to those of you that just joined us from the Tier 1 stream. Hope you're keeping well and hope you enjoy the Tier 1 stream. But there's still some massive action in this Tier 2 stream. We had JC that took pole, but we saw Floyd's Fires take the lead before the pit stops. But a moment ago, we saw Vexit, also known as Luke Smith, take the lead from Floyd's Fires quite comfortably into turn 1 a lap ago, and he has never looked back. He's gained a few attempts on Floyd's Fires this lap, But Flores Fired has gained a bit on Jeffrey Ritchie behind, so I think Flores is just concentrating on keeping the drivers behind more than Luke, to be honest. But he still knows that the race victory is not over, because he may see that Luke may over-push too much, and then Flores could go back on him on the final few laps. So this is going to be very, very exciting. Let us know in the chat, guys, who you think is going to win. Is it going to be Luke, or is it going to be Flores Fired? Let us know in the chat. But German, what do you think? Who do you think is going to get the win?
Well, looking at the minute, I did mention that Wise is probably just letting Pass try and harvest some ERS, but Luke is just managing to keep ERS a lot better than him and still keeping the pace up. So at the current stage, I think Luke Smith will probably get the win. But I'd just like to give a little shout out to Nomsy. We did mention earlier in qualifying, he's the only guy outside the top 10 to start on the softs. He's gained 10 positions and he's up in P5. So we were clearly accurate with what we were saying in qualifying. The fact he was in a position where his pace didn't match, and he's managed to climb all the way up to P5, 10 positions from a non-point scoring position. He can't be angry with that. That's a brilliant recovery drive.
Yeah, and he finished P3 last week, I believe, and it's shown that his race pace is second to none. And imagine where he would have been if he would have been qualifying there. He probably would have challenged for the win for the likes of Flores and Luke today. I'm almost certain of it, and he would have probably been on for podium as well. It's just a shame for his penalty too, which cost him a bit of time. So watch out for him next week. I think next week is going to be the time where he really shines in that Alpine car. And I'm sure with his teammate back next week, I'm sure that is going to be absolutely brilliant as well. And next week, I do believe we head to China next week, as Fritzen has been passed by both Jay and Dave Rombus. So Fritzen may have had an off somewhere, and that's allowed both Jay and Dave Rombus to get past. So Fritzen, I don't think challenged too much though, because he's got no penalties to his name. And watch out, the guys with no penalties, they can gain masses. Don't forget Mr. Anchor, he's got no penalties as well. He could gain a bit. Kerfuffle as well. Don't forget Kerfuffle had started, I think, at the back for his qualifying ban, and he's all the way up into 10th place. So another driver that's benefited from starting at the back, as Top Jack has left the session, because obviously he has retired. And there was a few predictions. Ben Camiso, thank you very much for listening to the stream, Ben. Hope you are well. He's predicting a late push from Vio. Smith is going to need to defend like no tomorrow. That's what I think potentially as well. But Luke has just pushed about 5 or 6 attempts in one lap. Vio's out of DRS. It may be too little too late for him. So who knows?
You can't leave it too late. Look at the time now between P1 and 2, over 1 and 1.3 seconds. So he's out of the DRS, and you can't just wait to the last lap if you're that P2 car. If you're that P2 car saving all your ERS for the last lap, that allows P1 to save it for the last lap. You've got to do it a few laps before to try and catch them off guard, because if Wise isn't even anywhere near Luke, which he is right now, Luke knows, I can just save my ERS because he's nowhere near me, and then if he does decide to challenge on the last lap, I could just pull away. And I feel like already with 2 laps to go, 1.5 laps to go, Wise has lost this. And look at Jeffrey, he's catching a lot quicker than I thought he would.
Yeah, exactly. And final lap is coming very, very soon, so do watch out. I think he was probably being a little bit too cautious potentially, Flores, but to be honest, he had a crash last week, and he probably would prefer 18 points to no points. So we will see, as we got a yellow flag, and that is his teammate, I believe, Anchor. He's out the race. So where is that? That is that Dunlop curb? Or into on the Degner 2. I can't tell, but he's now out of the race now. So he could have been on for some good points, but he must have binned it there, unfortunately. So
look at the time between Jeffrey and Wise. Look how much he's caught up to him. He's so
must
slow
have binned
now.
it or something, or he must have lost a bit of time. I think I have to agree. I think Flores is being overcautious. He's got to push now. He's got to push. I think the race win is over for Flores, but he could lose P2 here. He could lose 18 points, so he needs to defend for his life. And don't forget, Luke also is on the back of this train as well. Tom Martinez, even though he's got that 5-second penalty, I think he's still gonna get P5, so he's only gonna lose, I think, 4 positions. Actually, though, let's check the time penalties, if I can get it up on my screen. Doopy-doo. Nomsley's on 3, so... it's going to be close, but yeah, Tom will probably get P5. So that'll be good. As Rainbow's retired as well in the pit lane, so we're now down to 10 drivers, so the top 10 are still in this race. We'll be scoring some points. And as we now head towards the hairpin, and Luke has performed effortlessly today. He's not put a foot wrong. He has gained 2 positions. He started 3rd, and he's up into the credited spot that everybody wants to be in the 71 car. And even with that race he missed last week in Bahrain, that has not affected his spirits at all. He's concentrated on this race. He knew he was going to do well. He said, "I'll be back, lads." And he's definitely proven his theory. So, Luke Smith comes across the Casio Triangle now. He wins the 2nd race of the season. He wins his 1st race in WR Tier 2. Who's going to get P2? And here's Flores Vyers. Jeffrey Ritchie gets the podium. Tom Martinez gets 4th. I think Nomsley picked up a time penalty, because Tom just picked Nomsley to the post by 2 tenths. So Tom did what he needed to keep P4 alive. And driver of the day does have to go to Nomsley, and I do have to agree. Nomsley was definitely race-winning material if he did not qualify poorly. And I'm not surprised Vexit is in Devon Butler avatar there, Jarmo. Just look at that. Race-winning mentality, and Luke did a fantastic job. But I have to say, Flores had a bad race last week towards the end, but it was redemption for him. Didn't quite get the win, but I'm sure he'll be happy with P2, and he's still way in this championship fight. And he's got his championship fight off to a good start as well. And same with Jeffrey Ritchie too. So these 3 should be very, very proud with themselves today.
Yeah, definitely. Especially after qualifying. Looked like JSD pretty much had that race with his 1/10 lead in qualifying. Everyone else was so close, but he sort of just eked out that bit of extra pace in qualifying, and JSD was absolutely nowhere, and those 3 drivers were there to capitalise. I think Tom had a lot of pace, probably could have got an easy podium if not for that time penalty, but like a lot of the other guys, once you get down in that train, it is really hard to overtake.
Yeah, so let's go through your results then. So Luke wins from Flores Vyers, from Jeffrey Ritchie, Tom Martinez, Nomsey, JC, Fritzen, Kerfuffle. Kerfuffle, after starting 16th, makes his way up into 8th. Incredible stuff. And Jay Vahar here kicks off his points in a good start by getting 2 points. And Dave Rombus starts his WR campaign this season with 1 point. And then your retirements are Rainbow, Anchor, Top Jack, Josh, Neon, Luca, and Oskaya. So that was a pretty fun race. I really enjoyed that, and hopefully we could be hearing from the drivers from the interviews. And I do believe also at the end of this, due to Tom Martinez scoring well, we could see a change in the lead of the constructors. I think Ferrari could be leading the constructors by the end of tonight, which I have to say that is pretty good. I'm sure both of these drivers are pretty happy that the other drivers scored well.
Yeah, definitely. It is a team effort, the constructors. You can't just have one driver off the pace, especially with it being tier 2 as well. Obviously, the standard in this league is absolutely amazing. So you've got to have both drivers firing all cylinders. If you got one guy half off the pace, that's not going to do. And like you said, I think, yeah, Ferrari are definitely going to be leading the championship after this. So the pressure will be on them for the next race.
Yeah, so I'm going to try and see if we could get the top 3 in. So it was Luke, and then it was Flores, and then it was Jeffrey. So hopefully if they are watching, hopefully the waiting for interview works today, because it didn't work last week, unfortunately. So Jeffrey Ritchie is ace, I believe. So should do ace interviews. I think we got 2 interviews last week, which was good. So hopefully we can get all the top 3 in as well. And I think when we head to China next week, I wonder what the drivers will be making of some of the drivers who just hit the ground running from day one, like Luke, for example, and like some of the drivers like Tom as well, which got another P4. He likes his P4, doesn't he, Tom? But I'm sure he's gutted to miss out on the P3, but we will see. And I need to telling, waiting for interview. And I just had word from Flores' engineer that it was a mistake he made in the final few laps, which costed a bit of time, and it allowed Jeffrey to catch a bit to him as well. So that's what happened. So, nope, we can't drag him in. That is annoying. I'm guessing that isn't fixed. So I think, Jermo, we're going to go into the waiting for interview box, if that's all right, and grab and join him. So, are you ready to join that box? If he's here. We will go in. So, congratulations, Luke, on your debut WR Tier 2 victory. That was a good fight you had with Flores Fires for the last few laps. Tell me, how does that feel?
Oh, can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you. All loud and clear.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that was a really nice race. Qualifying wasn't quite as good as I'd wanted. I lost some time in the last sector on my last lap, which would put me probably front row. But yeah, it feels like a really nice victory to come from third on the grid, fourth in turn one. Yeah, just really nice pace, really good race. So GG to Flores and Ace.
Yeah, talk us about your qualifying session as well, because obviously last week you weren't here, and this week you were only hitting the ground running this week as well. Were you expecting to be up near the front, or did you have a lot of work? Did you think you would have a lot of work to do? Did you exceed expectations, as it were?
Yeah, I wasn't expecting to win this race at all. I was aiming for, like, if I was lucky, maybe a podium, but top 5 was probably my aim. Coming into it, so maybe next time I should be a bit more ambitious. But
yes.
Yeah, quali. I think it went quite well for me for the first 2 runs. Just made slow, gradual improvements. 0.7, then 0.5. It wasn't like neither of them were perfect laps, but they were like solid laps. So, yeah, it was looking pretty good until the last run. Threw away time in the last sector, like I said, but yeah, good race. Also, hi Flores, GG.
Yeah, we'll speak to Flores in just a second, but your pitch strategy, I think you nailed on as well. Did you ever have the plan to go for the undercut as well? Because you saw your teammate was right behind as well. So since you had that priority in front, was it the main course for you to pit first and get that undercut on the likes of Flores, for example?
I was expecting to. I thought Flores would go on for another lap because I don't know about him, but my tyre wear was actually pretty low. I think I had like 50% only coming into the pits, so I was pretty happy about it. I was going to go for an undercut because I know from last game that it's quite a powerful strategy. But yeah. When Flores went for it as well, I thought I'd probably better cover him off because being undercut is not something you want to do. Got held in the pits a little bit, but thankfully I had basically a full battery to push to get back into DRS with, and then regroup and go for an attack later on in the race.
Yeah, brilliant stuff. So we're going to move on to the next race, which I believe is China. What are your plans going into that race? Are you going to aim for another P1?
Well, now that I know that I can win races, that's probably the aim. China, it's a solid track for me. Not the best track, but it's fairly solid. So, yeah, looking to hopefully get maybe another podium at least. And if I can push up for a win, that'd be awesome.
Nah, you're getting the win. You're getting the win.
Are we going back to our Ronell days where I have to say I'm winning or else I don't get to play Among Us or something?
We might have to get to that at this stage, but who knows. But congratulations on kicking your WR campaign to a great start. P1 as well, and you also, your teammate scored quite nicely as well with 4th place. So good start for Ferrari this week, and best of luck for next week. Right then, so I'm going to pass it over to Germo now, who's going to be interviewing the man who came across the line in P2.
So, Flores, it looked like you had the early pace at the start, but then it just felt like as the race went on, Luke sort of took over in terms of the quickest driver, and then it looked like you made a bit of a mistake at the end, which obviously cost you a lot of time. And I just want to know What was it like? Was it just struggling with tyre wear? Was that the reason why you dropped off in pace at the end, or was it just you just felt like you just weren't as quick?
Nah. Well, I'm gonna talk to a race right now because the start was brilliant from P4 to P2. That was amazing, and then just basically follow. I don't know who was in front. I think it was Luke as well, who was in front. So I was trying to follow him, and when I saw the opportunity, I was going for the move. And then I wanted to be in front to control the race. Just drive my own pace. I had 40% of battery whole race long, so I was quite managing that as well. But hearing from Luke right now that he had a full battery, that was why he was closing up, because I was high at 50 or 40%. I was just being consistent with my ERS, just not losing any or not gaining any. But at the end, during the race or last race as well, but this race as well, during the end, I'm having screen freezes. That's why I'm falling back.
Oh.
That's basically it. That's why I fell back out of the 1 second, because of screen freeze. Because otherwise I would have been in the 1 second gap, still with Luke, and could have saved my ERS full up 25 or 26 to get an attack on. But yeah, due to screen freezes, that was not on.
Yeah, so I'm guessing that was your plan then. When you let Luke pass, you wanted to just stick behind him, gain a bit more ERS, and try and get
exactly.
past. Yeah,
Exactly.
Well, at least this time you've got a second place. You've actually got some points this time. So I know you want to be fighting at the front this time, but you can't be having many more non-point scoring positions. But at least this is obviously now kick-started your campaign, and congratulations on your P2. Exactly.
Thank you. It's the start of something.
Yeah, and but before you head off, Flores, then any expectations for China? You've got P2 this week. Next week you're gonna get the cheeky Dubsky, get P1.
Course, Jess. That's what I'm aiming for.
Yes, there we go. A little bit more than the answer that I wanted. A lot more confidence. I'd like to see. Congratulations on your P2, and hopefully you'll challenge for the top again next week. It was some great battling from you tonight.
Thank you.
Right then, so now we're going to be interviewing our final podium sitter, Jeffrey, also known as Ace. You almost had Flores there in the final few laps, but he just edged you. How did the race go from your perspective?
The race was actually fine. It was kind of it was just a massive train. I couldn't do anything, so I just tried the undercut because my quali didn't go so well. I don't know what I was doing with quali. I tried to finish my lap, but then at the last moment I was like, no, I want to actually abandon the lap and go into the pit, and then I kind of met the barrier in the middle that split the pit and the track, so that ended my quali. And from that moment I was actually thinking of maybe getting P11, but nobody actually beat my banker, so maybe that was a good thing actually, because the undercut actually worked very well, going from soft to medium, and that got me like the 5 positions actually that I needed to get onto the podium. So I guess I got lucky by being unlucky.
Yeah, exactly. And last week as well, you were unlucky with the incidents in Bahrain, but luckily you were able to get more points like Flores did and get a decent P3 as well. Was it definitely the redemption that you needed after last week?
Yeah, I think a podium definitely, it felt good, especially from last week where I definitely had a very good chance of getting a podium, maybe even win the race, as I was on that reverse strategy in Bahrain. So getting a podium just on pure pace, and I made like no mistakes. My whole race was clean except one lap where I had 2 warnings, and from that point I kind of just had to take it easy. And me and Tom kind of tried to DRS each other to get into Flores's and Luke's DRS, but I think they were just too fast at the front, slipstreaming each other and saving ERS behind each other, so we couldn't catch them. But I think maybe maybe next week we'll catch him.
Yeah, I think you had the pace, I think, today, and it definitely showed, especially towards the end. You were definitely pushing, and China next week is where the drivers and yourself will be going to as well. What are your expectations going to it? Now, we saw that Flores was confident he was going to get P1, so was Vexit as well. Are you going to get P1 today? Next week, sorry.
Nah. I'm gonna just nah. I'm gonna
Wrong
bin in the
answer,
wall.
joking.
And, nah. I don't know. I think I actually do better when I don't practice. So I'm just gonna let my
Nice.
pace be a surprise to even myself as well. So I'll just hop in, see what happens, and maybe. I think honestly in China, I don't think you want to get pole. I don't think the softs are very good or they last very long. So I think actually probably starting on the hards in P11 would be optimal. So I might go for that and hopefully run away in the end with way better tires.
Yeah, to be fair, sometimes it works for me. Sometimes when I practice less, I get better results. And if I practice more, I get horrible results. So sometimes that's a trick of the trade, to be honest. And congratulations on your P3. Let's hope you get another podium next week and maybe 1 or 2 places better, potentially. Congratulations on a fantastic P3.
Yes, thank you.
Right then, so that is it then for WR Tier 2 tonight. We hope you enjoyed it. Germo, any final thoughts before we wrap up the stream?
Pretty good first race for my first race commentating Tier 2. Hopefully there's a lot more like that. We got Shanghai next. A bit of a hit and miss track for drivers, but you know what league racing's like. It doesn't matter how boring the track. Usually the races make it very interesting.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm looking forward to that. I hope you're looking forward to that as well. The drivers definitely need a taste of victory next week, and I'm sure that they got to get some setups right because it is understeery some parts of the track. A few moments where you could spin, like in turn 13, for example, and maybe even through the tricky corners of turn 1 and 3. But we'll find out next week. So from myself and Germo, make sure you join us next week. You can follow me on my social media at JessGames95 on Twitter. Germo, what is your Twitter?
It's at Germo__.
There we go. So follow him. That'll be much appreciated. And also, we have the WR Twitter at WR League, where you can find out when the next races will be streamed. I believe there's an Xbox social race happening tomorrow, as I need to double check the WR Twitter YouTube account. Yes, it is an Xbox social race happening tomorrow, which will be commentated by George Morgan and Beacon around Spain. And I believe PS4 have got a Spain social race on Friday. So make sure you join them both for that. But for us, we'll see you same time next week for the Chinese Grand Prix for PC Tier 2. Have a good night, everybody, and we will see you soon. Bye.
Antoine is going to be crowned your WR Season 10 champion.
And history's been made. Ballina, the first WOR PS4 champion. What a championship! What a season! Absolutely phenomenal!